Bless them. I'd like to give them all a big hug. So I'm sending virtual hugs from Las Vegas to you all. I love you all.
I was going to say it's first thing in the morning, so we can't put that down to you having had a drink.
There is a lot of hugs. I got a spontaneous massage yesterday for the lady sitting next to me. That took me quite by surprise.
Yeah, the Brits don't care for a spontaneous massage very much. They're a complete stranger touching you. No.
It was very nice. She had very warm hands. Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. I've got a public service announcement for our listeners. Anyone in America at the moment can simply text Own It Podcast to 33444 and they will end up with both of our fabulous free gifts that we give away to subscribers to our mailing list, and they will get to go onto both of our own mailing lists so they can see how we do our marketing. We do it very differently, don't we? But, you know, if you see how each person does it, then you can choose the way that suits you. So, because a lot of people listen to a podcast out and about, they're not near their computers. They can't go to ownitthepodcast.com and subscribe to our mailing list, but they could just text Own It Podcast to 33444 and find out all about us and get some lovely free gifts.
Okay, so let me ask another question. You said only in America. Is it coming to the UK and Europe?
I would imagine so, very quickly, yes. A very high proportion of our listeners are in America, so do you lovely Americans text Own It Podcast to 33444 forthwith.
Okay.
Here ends this public service announcement, Judith. London, is Las Vegas calling?
Yes.
Morgan, at Judith Morgan on Twitter and at Nicola KNX on Twitter. We do a pre-recorded show on Wednesday mornings, normally from my dining room in Shoreham and your lovely flat in South London. But this week I am in Vegas, so we thought it might be fun to push my technological, tolerances to the max and actually record live and broadcast on Periscope, which is quite fun. So Sarah says that even though it's only on Periscope for 24 hours, Judith, she'll be able to download it and upload it to our new YouTube.
I saw that. I think that's very exciting.
Yeah, we're very keen on leverage, aren't we? In fact, we've talked about leverage on a previous show, how to leverage your content easily and fun.
And I think if we weren't doing this live, i.e. if we have a little rehearsal when you're back in the UK, we could make this a little bit more interesting.
All right. The thing is, I can swap it around so people see me, or they can see the...
No, it's fine, either. You do half and half.
Here we go. Look, live, chubby cheeks.
Yeah, lovely.
Right, so let's crack on then. Tell me 3 things about your week that's happened.
Oh no, you've got to start because frankly you're in Vegas and I'm in London. So tell us about you. You go first.
Well, I've been rambling for about the last 15 minutes actually. I've met Bob Doyle, I think he is one of the presenters in The Secret movie. He's got a law of attraction kind of wealth magnet kind of website, and that he's a very nice man. He's with a very lovely lady whose name has gone completely out of my mind, which is a bit embarrassing, who is an amazing medium media person. In fact, she was the one who put me onto Periscope yesterday, and she was actually periscoping live from the event. And she is a singer and a media, a news presenter and all that stuff over here. And she's getting involved with some incredibly exciting large projects to harness the power of social media for good. And she's getting involved with the United Nations so that, everyone will be able to put their voice to things that they want to change, in the same way that Jamie Oliver is now using his social media presence to encourage the government to feed kids better, because apparently some shocking statistic like 40% of children under the age of 5 are obese already. So Jamie's really wading in on social media with that and getting a petition going. Of course, with his social media reach, he's going to be able to do a lot of good. And the wonderful lady who I met yesterday is doing exactly the same. They're also doing some interesting stuff with music and tonality, where they're actually just going into their studio and setting an intention for the session. And it's very woo-woo, Judith. You'd like it a lot. And then
I'm liking it already. You've only got to say the word intention and my ears prick up, Nicola.
Well, absolutely. They set an intention for the session, and then they just improvise music and see what happens. And they're going to be doing it live on Periscope, so people can then give them feedback about whether the intention they set for the session is actually working for the people listening live on.
Oh, gorgeous!
I know, it's great, isn't it? And they want to take it right up to stadium level, And there's been a lot of talk about being in your flow this week, and very much talk about jazz. Bill Harris, who is an incredibly big personal development guru, he has been talking a lot about jazz and being in your flow and neuroplasticity, where you can train your brain to be better performing and to make yourself happier. Yeah. We talk about this every week, don't we? How to be
all the rage neuroplasticity.
But you never thought you'd hear yourself saying that at the age of 60.
Oh dear.
And and that was, and then we had people like the MindMovies chap again. Oh my God, Glen Ledwell, who is one half of the MindMovies team, and they did a multi-million launch last year or towards the end of the year, and they were sharing stuff from behind the scenes, geeky stuff like what works and split testing and all that stuff. And also Anik Singal, who's just done an incredibly $11 million launch within the last month. He's basically been sharing stuff that's been working. So it's a right old mix of internet marketing, geekery, and other world stuff, like things like, all that stuff about playing music to water and seeing what shapes it makes and projecting it back to the water. And
lovely. He died last year.
Sandophonics?
No, but the man what's his name? What's the name of the man, the Japanese man that brought us the water. Frozen icicle? Yeah. He died last year. I had tickets to see him just before he died. He died before my tickets were good. I was a little bit grumpy about that.
You were a bit grumpy about that, were you?
Yeah, very inconsiderate of him. Yeah.
Well, look up Sandophonics or something like that, or Sandohonics, and basically they pour a load of sand onto a metal plate, and then they put a frequency of a note through the metal plate, and the sand makes itself into quite incredible, beautiful, Mandelbrot-like pictures. And really, and the higher the frequency goes, the more intricate and beautiful the pictures are. And someone put forward the theory yesterday that perhaps that's how crop circles are made, that spaceships come down and they just blast noise at the they're probably just doing it for fun, just to wind us up. But it was very similar. So they can do it with sand on a metal plate. So go and have a look at that. It's just exciting, interesting stuff, and I'm being very stimulated. I had to come up here to my room for a little bit of half an hour of peace and quiet because my brain was on fire yesterday.
And are you on this?
Am I on what? Oh no, I spoke first. That was terrifying.
Oh. Okay.
Well, it was great though, because it meant everyone knew who I was and that I could help them with their Facebook ads. So I've had loads of lovely people coming up to me to talk to me and ask my advice about their ads that aren't quite working as well as they'd like to.
Well, as they say on X Factor Live, opening the show's the hardest bit, Nicola.
Well, it was, and I was absolutely rubbish, Judith, because I didn't want to go in and talk about myself at all because I was there to give value. But my talk only lasted 15 minutes, so I caught them quite by surprise by being so quick. But I was mercifully brief, put it that way. So what have you been up to then?
Well, almost nothing by comparison. I saw Sarah's note. She's right. Masaru Emoto, that's right.
Yeah.
So mine was a 3-book weekend. Well, first of all, we should say that today is an historic day. It's the 7th of May 2015, and it's the general election in the UK, which would have slipped your mind since you are in foreign parts. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm not really interested in politics. Anyway, a 3-book weekend, with 3-day holiday, wasn't it, if you could remember? You left the UK on Monday, I think, didn't you, in the middle of us having a bank holiday. So, yeah, I had a 3-day weekend. I read 3 books, one by Tom Evans called The New Magic for a New Era, one by Steve Chandler called 37 Ways to Boost Your Coaching Practice, and one by Kate Northrup, Money, a Love Story. So I was reading about my 3 favourite things: magic, coaching and money, and I've written all about it in my newsletter today, so I won't bore our listeners, except to say that the last one, Kate Northrup, was Money, a Love Story. She did very well as a student, so even before she went to university, she created a residual income in a network marketing company, which you'll have heard of, called USANA. And she was the daughter of somebody who'd already been published and was quite an expert in women's health. I've only started that one, not finished it. Very interesting. So I'm in the middle of a big reading jag, and I've got 3 more books in my queue, but I'll tell you about those next week.
Okay. I brought a couple of books with me. I brought Automatic Customer, which you recommended.
Yes.
And I haven't started that one yet. And I also brought Oversubscribed by Dan Priestley, which I'm enjoying enormously. I
saw you mention that somewhere. Must have been on Facebook or something, yeah. I think.
Yeah. Quite active on Facebook in the middle of the night. I'm
talking this morning just as I was getting up and just as you were going to bed, which is quite funny.
I know, it's a bit weird, but I quite like it. You know, the whole thing of waking up about 5 or 6, doing a load of work, going off for fun all day, coming back to the room and doing a bit more just as you lot are going to bed, and then going out for the evening. And it's different, but it sort of works. You get into a rhythm, I think.
Could do, I think. Yes, I think 8 hours as it's a whole business day would make working with the UK really rather difficult, because it means you have to train people into waiting until tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true, and that is very surreal. So no word on who's out in front on the old election then?
Oh, far too early to say, Nicola. Polls don't shut until 10 o'clock, and it's only 5:30 here.
Oh, right, okay.
And actually, I mean, I think everybody says it's all rather neck and neckish and going to be historic in the extent of a lot of horse trading might have to happen over the next 2 or 3 weeks while various people have to put governments together. But we shall see. We shall see.
So what's fueled your fire then?
Well, let me have a look here. Yes, now, Tom Evans, the book I read, New Magic for a New Era, I was prompted to read that by having bought a little course of his last Friday about creating a spiral of abundance. And he has got a rather interesting pricing policy, which is quite close to my pay what you want. He prescribes that people pay £33, which he says is a magic number, but he says there's no early bird discount nor a money-back guarantee, because these measures are reflective of an old energy system based upon fear. I thought you'd like that because it's rather controversial. But the couple of things that he recommended that I do, I leapt into action and do immediately. I don't know if you remember reading, and you may not have read it actually, but a book that I really like called How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast by Sandy Forster.
I did read it.
Who's an Australian lady.
I did.
Yeah, one of the things that she recommends in the very early chapter is that you clear your cash for clutter. Clear your clutter for cash. And as you know, I haven't got any clutter at all. But I had a little rake around and managed to put a couple of things on Gumtree and make £110 on Bank Holiday Monday, which I really enjoyed, because selling things for cash brings out my inner Del boy, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And the other thing he said was, create a new offering for your clients, which I did and sent it out on Monday. So I was really rather glowing at having taken the recommended action in a book or a course. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that so really it was just it's quite exciting. I mean, I could get into selling things on eBay. It's a shame I haven't got more clutter, really, Nicola. I could make a lot more dough.
Well, the people who really make money on eBay are the ones who buy wholesale and sell retail.
Yeah, I've got one of my clients trying to do that. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I just think there's easier ways to make money, really. But for people getting, I'd rather people got started doing something and prove to themselves they can actually make a profit than didn't do anything.
Well, I think that was exactly Tom's. Yeah, that was exactly Tom's point, which is if you make £110 on Bank Holiday Monday and you've spent £33 on my course, that's a 200% return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Unlike my brief spell at the roulette table last night.
I think the other point he was making is as well as you've begun the flow.
You'd be on the flow, yes, the flow of cash and the flow of belief.
Yeah.
That you can do it, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was doing quite well at the roulette table at one point. I put $20 down, I turned it into 40 before we went for dinner, and then I turned it into 160, and then I'm afraid it just disappeared as the hours passed and everyone was chatting. I don't
know what you think pays for all that opulence you're looking at, but that's how it's funded, darling.
And supports the entire town. I'm not one who willingly loses money for any length of time. I had set myself that $20 budget, and I thought I'll see how long I can make it last and have a good time. But there is no live poker in this hotel, which I'm sort of disappointed about and sort of excited about the fact that I won't be tempted to go and play, because of course the old lags around the cash tables in the various hotels are just waiting for the young fish, well, not that young actually, the fish to come by, which is what they call the people who don't play very regularly.
Yeah.
But our event organizer is going to try and find me a tournament, which is a fixed buy-in and is a lot safer, so you can only lose the bit you buy in. And
okay, that's interesting. So what's fueled your fire?
Well, it's just the whole thing, really, of this whole thing of just coming to an amazing location, being looked after, being feted and wined and dined, because everyone, all the big dogs here are looking to recruit affiliate partners for their next promotion. So they're all jockeying for paying for everything, and that's really rather wonderful. And then Andy gave out loads of cash yesterday, which were his affiliate prizes. So they went to the bank and got it in cash. And even the most jaded internet marketer gets a bit excited by getting 25, 30 grand in cash given to them. And it's just the whole thing about the thing about going and spending time with amazing, inspirational, challenging people who it sort of makes you up your game, I think, and it just gets you out of Shoreham and shows you what's possible. I love being in sunny climates. I love being in hotels. I like being looked after. So the whole thing about fueling, this whole Periscope thing has come just from me listening to that lady talking yesterday, and now we're reaching a new audience, which is rather exciting. So yes,
although quite small, but you do like to be on the leading edge.
Well, you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? I mean, Twitter, you start with a few followers, and the thing I like about this is it's going out on Twitter as well. So it's covering an audience that you're quite active-ish on Twitter, aren't you? I've sort of neglected it recently.
Almost once a week, maybe more, maybe as often as once a day. I say to myself, actually, when I do a little bit on Twitter, it brings me quite an impressive return, and if I put more in, obviously that would compound.
Yeah, I know. It's challenging for 140 words, but we quite like being forced to express ourselves succinctly, don't we?
Be brief, yes. Blessed release for some people who listen to these podcasts, I would think. Do you feel isolated and alone in running your own home-based business? Do you have worries, doubts, fears and resistance which sometimes make you feel like giving up? Don't worry. You're not alone. In fact, you're perfectly normal. It can be scary all by yourself. But what if you could learn how to become a confident business owner, how to trust yourself more and grow your income, relax and be more creative and productive? Small Business Big Magic is a unique business mentoring group providing grounded practical support and advice, fast responses to your questions, inspiration and solutions to boost your clarity and help you find direction, focus and success in your life and business. Join Small Business Big Magic today for the friendship and encouragement of others just like you and the enthusiasm of a coach who gets you and your business. There's big magic for your small business at judithmorgan.com.
So what's our client challenge of the week then, moving swiftly?
Well, I don't want to bring you down from that high Vegas energy that you've got, but it's about self-belief and self-doubt. Specifically, the question I have is, from a client. Well, actually, I didn't have a challenge this morning, so I asked Facebook. I asked 3 of my groups in Facebook, and the answer was what to say to other people who just don't get what you're doing and seek to undermine you, retaining belief in yourself and in your work when it's outside the norm. So what do we recommend to clients? Again, it's not our problem, yours or mine, I don't think, and therefore we're going to have to dig deep and go back. You know, how does a person working on their own, starting their own business, believe in themselves, conquer self-doubt, and what do they say to other people whose comments are not very helpful? How do you keep belief in yourself and your work when it's not what everybody else is up to?
Okay. First up, I've never really sought the opinion of others, and I don't really give a toss what anyone else thinks, unless they're the people I like and respect. So I don't go looking for other people's opinions. I heard a great quote from Nita Roddick once. She said, "Your ideas and your dreams are like little birds, so you have to hold them in your hand really gently and loosely, because if you hold them too tight, you'll crush the life out of them. But if you let them go too soon, other people will shoot them down," I think was the end of the quote. So it's about not sharing your ideas too quickly with people who don't understand. Having a little bit of the courage of your convictions just to get it to the point where you can let your little bird fly free. I did go through a massive period of self-doubt, as you know. We both did, I think. You went through a phase where you didn't know if you wanted to be coaching, and I went through a phase where I didn't know what the F I was going to be doing next. So I do sympathise, but I think you've just got to have some sort of, I don't know, the attitude I always have is you might as well give it a go.
Yes. I think we're blessed, you and I, relatively speaking. I don't know. I mean, it's not to say that we're not delicate and fragile, but we are also robust. I don't really give a toss what anybody else thinks about me either, and that sounds ugly when you say it, but actually, I think it's quite helpful, really, because people, the wrong person, perhaps a family member or somebody that you care about, can put a pin in your balloon very easily, I think. And I was chatting to another colleague, a mutual colleague of ours this morning who shall remain nameless, and we were talking about the thing that we all have that I call "there's always one." And I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a moment, because she's in the who or what's impressed me. But when you put on something, whether it's you put on something that everybody loves, and the people that love it are silent about it, but the one person who doesn't like it very much speaks up quite loudly. And I think that can be quite, one can obsess over that and do a lot of hand wringing, and I think it can be quite disabling for some. And I think some of our clients would feel very exposed on social media, and I think that there's a lot of quote unquote loving, well-meaning friends and family when you start up and when you give up the day job, who keep saying, "How's it going?" and look to measure your results before you've got anything worth showing them. And usually I think it's about them rather than about you. It can be a long time before you, I know it was 3 years when I became an accountant, 3 years before I had a holiday and bought myself a watch. And if people are looking for signs during that 3-year startup period that will reassure them when you're doing something that's strange to them, I don't think they're going to see it necessarily. And I think it's difficult to keep going unless you're quite a tough bod, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. And people are always looking for you to fail so that they don't feel they have to try.
I know. That's exactly what we're talking about, Nicola. That is exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. Horrid, isn't it?
It is, and it's yeah. I'm sure they don't actually even realise that they're doing it, but that's what's going on, isn't it? I don't know where I think my self-reliance came from the fact we were left alone quite a lot as kids, and we had to just get on with it. It's like, I could have said to myself, look, for God's sake, you don't need to do this Periscope thing today. You can wait till you get home. But I need to get a bit of momentum going, and I think that's a character trait that served me well. My driving instructor once famously said, "Plenty of confidence, but not very competent."
Yeah.
And I don't actually wait till I get things perfect. It's like, okay, so I'm sure everyone on Periscope is thinking, why am I watching a picture of a Las Vegas boulevard? Because basically that's the only position I can hold the iPad in and still talk. concentration. But I thought it's just more important for us to try it out and have some fun with it than get it perfect. And if there's people on Periscope thinking, what are they doing? Just we're recording our podcast live from Vegas. That's what we're doing. Having a laugh at it.
I think there's another factor that occurred to me when you were talking then, which is, did either of us have a choice?
Well, you didn't.
and I don't think you did either.
What do you mean?
I meant about being self-employed. I was over jobs pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could never stay at a job for longer than 18 months. I'd go in, revolutionise their systems, set up new ones, and then be incapable of following them.
We didn't have a choice, Nicola. We had to support ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. So there was always this feeling that I had to succeed no matter what. And actually, the only people whose opinion I've ever cared about is Phoebe and Nelson's, because when I was going through the bad patch, all I could think about was, I've got to get this going. I've got to sort this out. I've got to become successful again, because I do not want them to think that becoming an entrepreneur is all poverty and hardship and self-doubt and hard work into the hours of, they saw me doing podcasts at all times of the day and night, webinars all times of the day and night, getting up on Sunday to change something in my infusion stuff. I didn't want them to have that negative view of entrepreneurship. I wanted them to see me come out of the other side and see that it was actually worth it all.
Interestingly, I say this quite often, that I'm fairly sure I heard an interview on the radio once, possibly with Richard Branson, who said that the thing that he found very motivating for a lot of entrepreneurs is, I'll show them.
Oh, absolutely. The middle finger is the swivel factor, as I call it, is a very big driver.
Yeah. So again, I agree. No, that's right. And also, assuming that you're quite robust. And I think what these people are saying is, what do I say to other people who just don't get what I'm doing? I probably would say,
don't talk to them.
I would probably say that I appreciate your care and concern. For instance, I have a friend who's very neg, and I stop down all conversations and I say, look, I can't hear this. In order for me to do what I have to do in this life, I have to keep positive.
Yeah.
So you manage your own negativity and I'll manage my own positivity. And whenever anybody gives me any unwanted feedback, I always say, thank you for your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that may be your reality, but it's not mine.
Yeah, thank you for your opinion. I don't buy into your reality. Yeah, but actually I wouldn't say anything. I mean, what you want when somebody is, what to say to other people who just don't get what you're doing.
Why do you care?
I don't see that it's a one-way street. If they don't get what you're doing, you presumably don't get what they're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's right. And I actually feel that being in a job is one of the most precarious things you could, without another means of earning cash on the side, is actually the most risky thing of all, because you're putting your life and your family's well-being and your happiness into someone else's hands, where you have no control over the outcome of that business. They could close it tomorrow and just shut you down, and you would be buggered.
And I think in 2015, that's as perilous as I've ever known it in my adult life.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of talk here at this mastermind about all of the people who are. I mean, I saw some shocking statistics the other day. I can't quote them off the top of my head. I'll have to put them in the notes of the podcast, get them off of Cliff, who had them. It was basically something along the lines of, in the UK, something like, I mean, we know 95% of people are living they don't earn more than £50,000 a year. And then there's something like 60% of those people are earning less than £10,000 a year. I mean, I just could not believe my eyes when I saw these statistics, and it's worse than it's ever been, and people are in absolute despair. He works in a citizens advice bureau, this client of mine, Cliff, one day a week just to give back, and he was saying that he's never seen such abject poverty, and people just do not have any clue how to get themselves out of it. He says it's an education issue, but they're not getting that education from anywhere, and their lives are so chaotic and so moment by moment, they don't have any breath or will in their body to think there must be a better way.
Mm. And I think, looking at this question here, retaining belief in yourself, I think you've got to put one foot in front of the other today, and again tomorrow, and again the next day, and forever, until you see results that you're proud of. And actually, I'm not sure it really matters what other people think. They've got to manage their own fears and emotions and thoughts that they're having around what you're doing, and you stick your nose in your own business and leave it in your own business and keep on, really.
The fear is very big and very real. I mean, I remember feeling absolute utter terror that I wouldn't find a way out of the wilderness years, as I call them, but I just, like you said, Judith, I just got up every morning and thought, what one thing can I do today to move forward?
Yeah.
Because the alternative was unthinkable, and that was giving up. Was it Winston Churchill said something like that? He said it 3 times, didn't he? We're not giving up. We're not giving up. We are just not giving up.
Well, actually, there you've just hit on something which might help. Retaining belief in yourself. Listen to or watch inspiring stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm so on a massive natural high this week. Listening to these people who are just doing astonishing things. And I'm really tempted to go. Well, I started a page called Success Follows Happiness because I really sort of wanted to start expressing my thoughts about how to become happier, and it doesn't fit into the internet marketing things I do normally. So, but I've been just astonished at how big the market is for personal development. I'm hearing numbers that are just mind blowing here, and it seems to me like there's a sea change of awareness. Obviously, it hasn't trickled right down to the people at Cliff's Citizens Advice Bureau yet, but there are a lot of people out there looking for a better way. They do realise things are broken. They do want to find a better way, and just go and look up Les Brown on YouTube, and he's like a preacher. He's not only funny, he's inspiring. He's got a musical cadence to the way he delivers his motivational stuff. I was just amazed at how good he was.
Well, there's another thing as well. Hang out with other people who are also working outside the norm, because then you collect a new peer group.
Yes, and you can network with people. I know that you've got some amazing groups, different Facebook groups going to support your clients, haven't you? And I've got a membership site to support mine. You need to go and find yourself a bunch of people who are trying to do what you're trying to do, and then just don't talk to the other people about it. Just say, "Oh, I'll let you know when I've got something further to report."
Yeah.
Bless them. I'd like to give them all a big hug. So I'm sending virtual hugs from Las Vegas to you all. I love you all. I haven't had my smoothie yet either.
I was going to say it's first thing in the morning, so we can't put that down to you having had a drink.
There is a lot of hugs. I got a spontaneous massage yesterday for the lady sitting next to me. That took me quite by surprise.
Yeah, the Brits don't care for a spontaneous massage very much. They're a complete stranger touching you. No.
It was very nice. She had very warm hands. Right, what's next then? I've lost my prompt.
Okay, so we'll do your word of the week now.
Oh, well, it was going to be inspiration, but I banged on about that so much, haven't I?
Give us another word. Just breathe in and out for 2 seconds and think, what's another word that has been bandied around in Vegas this week?
I can't even begin to tell you what we were talking about at dinner last night. I blushed.
Oh, good. Thank heavens. Keep it clean, darling.
Before the poppadoms had come, I'd already blushed twice.
I'll give you mine then. Okay, so my word is change.
Uh-huh.
And I think as human beings, we both crave it and fear it, and usually the fear wins out, i.e. people want to change, but they don't make changes because it's terrifying.
Yes, it's the stuff of life for us, though, isn't it?
It is, and actually it crosses over slightly with the challenge, which is, you've made a change and I don't like it because it's unsettled me a bit.
Yes, yeah, people around you don't like you changing, do they? That's for sure.
Well, I think there's a lot of fear around it, but I think we also crave it. I think we're not happy. That's what the whole personal development thing is based on. Your massive statistics. All those people are looking to make a change that they believe will improve their life in one way or another.
Yes, and I think that's why people go on holiday. That's why people travel, isn't it? Because they want to change their environment, change their surroundings. They don't realise it's going to have an effect on their brain. Neuroplasticity, we're back to that. Travel definitely brought the mind. They've known that for years, haven't they? They used to send.
Yes, they have. It can be quite challenging because all your comfort, your creature comforts are taken away from you. So you are quite vulnerable as a traveller too.
Not in Vegas, they're not. They're added to. I've got a bathroom the size of my dining room. What are you on about?
Well, the things that make you feel comfy at home is what I mean. The things that you know.
Absolutely, because that Malta trip was very challenging, and I really didn't like what a wimp I was on that one.
America does win out as being a very easy place to be, actually.
Yeah, a bit too easy, perhaps. Yeah, yes, no, it's great. I love it, and in fact, opulence and comfort. I mean, that was the sort of word that I was struggling to reach for earlier, because when you feel I feel when I feel looked after, I definitely am able to perform better, and I step up easier because I don't have to worry about the little everyday things. And that's part of my trying to become more organised at home as well, is which you've been helping me with enormously. The new gardener's coming when I get back, and my cleaner will be there while I'm away sorting things out, so when I come back it'll all be nice, and I definitely need that support to be able to do what I do. And you love nice things as well. You're constantly working on making things better for yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, that thing that they used to write about in women's magazines forever, which is, you're better off having fewer items that are more expensive, which is something I kind of buy into. I'm not really interested in the female wardrobe particularly, but I do have very few things, and consequently that means that the things I have I really appreciate and do tend to be built to last, i.e. expensive.
Yeah. And I'm definitely leaning that way myself. Sarah's my sister's. She lives out of one suitcase and one backpack, and just moves around. Now she's got a car; she can bung it all in the back of the car, and sky's the limit on where she can go. It's very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, when I go to the Caribbean, I go with one suitcase for a month, and I think, well, if I can live out of that suitcase for a month, I can live out of that suitcase for 12 months.
Yeah, well, Kayla and Michael are here. My friends who I met on the cruise, who've just sold everything, and I've been hanging out with them quite a lot, and they're saying how incredibly liberating it is. They realised they were going to be on the road for 4 months. If you go to their Nomads, I think it is. And anyway, there's a link to it we'll put a link to it in the show notes. Sarah will sort it out, I'm sure. It's Michael and Kayla Stevenson. They're NLP experts, but they're sort of shifting their business a bit to move into the more sort of inspirational and traveling, being nomads, I suppose you'd call it. And they realised they were going to be away for 4 months, and they didn't want, were paying rent and keeping their house going for 4 months. And that was when they thought, no, let's do it. Let's just do it before we have kids. Let's just pack everything up. And they are literally traveling around the world and blogging about it as they go, which is very inspirational, I think.
Yeah, it is for a lot of people, I think. And as we said in an earlier episode, not as easy as it looks necessarily.
No, well, they're giving some very good tips on the right kind of suitcases to buy and things like that. So. and they are people who like their creature comfort, so it's not like they're backpackers, and that's very important, I think, because it's going to be interesting to watch how they do it, rather than actually just staying in hostels and keeping it cheap like that.
Who or what's impressed you this week? Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay, well, I had a long chat this morning with somebody on Skype who you know, and as this story goes on, if you work out who I'm talking about, I don't want you to say, because I want to protect this person's privacy.
Okay.
But they've just bought a franchise and started a new business, and we were talking about the excitement of banking the first week's takings, which the franchise model requires that they take in cash. So, of course, I'd gone into overdrive of, oh, God, you need a PDQ machine. You don't want to be taking it in cash. But actually, there is something quite exciting about a week's takings in cash. And the business model required that there were 25 sales on the first evening. And my friend and client predicted 50, and she achieved 100.
Oh,
so
God.
There's nothing like talking to somebody. We spoke for an hour, really excited about, a relatively inexpensive franchise that she's bought, which puts her back up the front of the room in the star space where she should be all along. She has experience of being a trainer, and she's got a Facebook group which has got 500 likes, which she's never had in her other business, and it's only a few weeks old, and I can see her leading that from the front and loving it. It's just listening to somebody in the excitement of, it's a bit like falling in love. The excitement of the startup phase, has really impressed me. Actually, she's done it against my advice. I wasn't deeply impressed by the maths of the franchise, but she's done it anyway. And good on her, frankly.
We've been joined by Lynn Rose, who is the lady who inspired me on the whole Periscope thing, and she's sending. Say hello to Lynn Rose, Lynn. She's sending us lots of hearts and love, and she's been doing this for a while now. So I'm going to go and try and watch some of her stuff. Yeah, more hearts and love coming in.
Well, tell her that we're a couple of Periscope virgins.
Back to sex again.
There was a film when I was a child, which I think was called Up Periscope, and in my family it's always been a bit of a joke, Up Periscope. And here we are, Up Periscope.
We are, yes, I remember that actually. Lynn Rose says, no, we can't talk about that. We've got a very family-friendly podcast going on here, Lynn. But anyone who wants to can go and see the chat. Lynn is a stunning, tall, statuesque blonde. No, it's all right, you're okay. And she's been, as I say, on TV, and she got up and sang a blues song at the Thai restaurant, and she was really, really good. So I've been watching her with admiration from afar throughout this event.
Well, that's who or what's impressed you this week then?
It is Lynn Rose, at Lynn Rose, LYNNROSE. Go and see what she's up to, because she's going to be doing these amazing musical events, and probably doing them on Periscope and healing around the world through the power of music and sound, which is...
Did you tell her that your podcast partner was very woo-woo?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if I'd mentioned that, but Judith, who I'm on the podcast with, ownitthepodcast.com, is extremely woo-woo. And so you're very impressed to hear how woo-woo I've got in just 2 days. I'm very impressionistic, obviously.
I think we're done, aren't we, Nicola? That's nearly a wrap.
Yeah, I think we are, and it's a wrap, darling. Yeah, so London, Vegas, over and out.
And enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
I will. See you soon.
Okay, bye, darling.
Bye. Thanks, everyone, on Periscope. Now, I don't know how to turn it all off. That's the funny bit.
No, neither do I.
I'm going down to get my smoothie imminently, Lynn Rose.
Right, see if you can stop it broadcasting on Periscope. That would be good.
That's the first step, isn't it?
It does say Untitled Las Vegas, Nevada.
Stop. Oh, I've got to title it, have I? Oh, damn, I tried to do it on my phone first, and then I lost the plot of what I was doing. Apparently the titles are very important as well, Lynn was saying.
Oh, yes.
Okay, stop broadcast. Here we go. Untitled. Oh, can I change it? No, I can't. It has to upload and process now, so I'll probably...
It says you've gone offline, which is a good sign, I think.
All right, cool. All right. See you later.
Okay, bye, darling.
It's a brand new day.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.